What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Game Dev Unchained, the number one game development about game development and the lifestyle thereof. This is your host, Brandon Pham. With me, a recurring guest, you know him, Ray Graham. How you doing, Ray?
What's up? What's happening? What's going on?
All right, it's been a while, a lot to catch up on, but I think we can go ahead and get going here with the Roundtable news episode.
Sure.
This is Q&A. As mentioned before, this is opinions of our own and not of the companies we work for. So please share your comments and your opinions on social media or whatever. And let's go for it, man. So we haven't talked for a few months now. I think the main thing, the elephant in the room, is that it came in, it went, right? We're talking about Concord 2.0, or as others have mentioned it, HighGuard. So HighGuard, from the minute of, let's be fair, right? I want to make it very clear that I'm not very much in kicking it while it's down. I was kicking it while it was still up, to be fair, right? At the minute when the trailer showed itself, I knew that, I was voicing my concerns right away. It was just the art direction was everywhere, right? Not even about the design. The art direction was so confusing. You have like these knights riding around on ponies, not even horses. And then you have Excalibur as kind of like a capture the flag type of thing. And it was just all over the place. And I didn't know what to think of it. And just kind of quick recap. The HighGuard is the studio. What was the studio's name?
Wasn't it?
What is the studio's name? Well, it doesn't matter.
Wildlight. Yeah.
Wildlight, right? Dimmed very quickly. HighGuard came out on Game Awards as kind of like the last trailer shown for the show, and it got a lot of flack for it being the supposedly spot for the best game, and it wasn't that. Everyone was pretty disappointed, and all right. I mean, that's enough recap, but like, I want to kind of hear your opinion, Ray, before I dig into it. I'm digging too hard.
It's hard. No, it's hard for me to have an opinion. Like, those type of games are just not my jam, right?
Yeah.
But I played it, and like, you know, like the base building part, and like I played the tutorial, right? Because again, like that's not my jam. Like, play multiplayer games with a bunch of random people. It's just not my thing. You know, art wise and all that, like I think it looked fine. Yeah, I think it was a good looking game, right? But like the one thing about it that was bothered me was like the whole the mining mini game was also kind of whack. Or at least I just didn't enjoy it, you know. But I did think they were trying to like do something different, right? They were mixing like different types of games all together to try to do something different. Yeah. It's still playable. Company still exists. They just scale down huge, right? Like these, just because you can't sustain a big team if you're not making the numbers, right? And like it's probably going to end up being killed off, right? But then but Wildlight will probably figure out a way to pivot to something else, you know, or how can, you know, try to come up with something that will actually hit. Right. You know, there's a lot of things that were said on the internet in the wake of all this kind of stuff, right? Like in terms of like reasons why it failed or whatever. Right. But I think the number one things, like when you're making these games, there's like, hey, I want this to become your new game that you play over Arc Raiders, over Fortnite, over Call of Duty Warzone, over, you know, like the list goes on. It's just hard to do that, right? And everything has to be really going your way in order to like capture that attention, because it's all about attention more so, right? And there's all sorts of like technical things get into. Oh, it doesn't look like this, blah blah blah. Maybe that's what didn't resonate with players, you know. But also like just what they're trying to do is straight up just hard, you know. And then now it's imperfect, and it's just a perfect storm, right? And I think also we're in a time where it's becoming maybe fashionable for people to just start hating on games before they even come out, right? And a lot of that is like there's some player backlash against like the years of like really horrible practice that have gone on, right? And we're getting some backlash against it. But.
Well, yeah, I hear that. I mean, I think over the years, the players have been kind of scammed, right, with these kind of big budget games, and some even buying them and playing them and being disappointed. I mean, Concord was kind of like the most recent similar case, and they lasted longer. Before the layoffs, the server was up longer. Before PlayStation completely refunded players. All right. This was a little different. Like you said, I think it's like 80% of the team got laid off. There's only like 20 or 30 people on the team left that is working on the updates. Yeah. And it is I mean, to be fair, their server is still up. I think the last time I saw, there was only like 400 concurrent players on Steam that was still playing. Probably the devs.
Yeah. Well, but I think it's now in the double digits. So
double digits. So it's been shrinking.
Yeah.
So I understand the argument with there's player fatigue and hating is kind of popular. Right. Mm-hmm. But in a case like this, it is valid. The game does suck. Right. And I mean, from the get-go, right, it did not resonate, which was concerning. And then I just hate how popular it is now for devs to respond to bad criticism or to criticism.
Yeah.
With saying like, hey, just wait. Like as if they're going to show something. I was like, all right, you can't double down.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of mistakes that are there, right? Because I do feel like I do agree with this one thing, right? Game developers have to be willing to go out on a ledge, and stand by what you make. Yeah. You have to be willing to do that, right? But you also have to be willing to hear when people are like, nah, that's not it, right? Because sometimes you have to show people the way, right? Like, this is the thing that's dope. And then people are like, oh, yeah, I see.
To train them a bit, yeah.
Yeah, right? Because that's how new things get made. A new thing that you just come up with out of whole cloth, nobody asked for it. You know, like innovation is not asked for usually, and it just happens, and then people resonate with it, right? Yeah. But what you should do is like actually ask people if this thing I'm making is going to resonate with you, and see what their reaction is, right? And do that before you spend a ton of money, ton of time, ton of effort, right? To make sure that you're building towards the right thing, or you're getting close to the right thing. Okay, now we need you guys to help us continue to get close to the right thing, right? So like the whole like approach, right, has to change in this day and age, especially with so much competition, and like straight up getting hate and then being like, nah, don't worry about it. It'll be dope when you see it. Is kind of like, it's the old school way of doing it, right? It just isn't like that anymore, you know?
Yeah, let me check something. I did read a quote, but I don't know if it's true. I just want to double check that the HighGuard CEO was infamously saying that he didn't want to playtest the game because he was so sure of it, or something like that.
Yeah, there was some talk, like I don't know. It's like rumors, and like I don't know if it's true or what, right? But there's some talk about that where like specifically some early playtests were like, nah, we're not doing that. And like if that's true, you know, back in the day you could do that, you know. Nowadays that's like, no, you can't. You just can't do that.
Yeah. So yeah, just to be clear, Dusty Welch, co-founder of Wildlight, led the decisions to skip public playtesting or beta before the game's January
again
launch.
Rumor and speculation.
I'm reading it. It seems to confirm by Game Informer, at least.
Yeah.
In the game, like this is I've been saying this. There's an old guard that have seen success before. Like the studio was kind of touting how they were like ex Respawn guys, ex Titanfall creators, right there on their site. And then days later, after the launch, they removed it quietly, which is kind of hilarious. But there's a lot of like these 2020 kind of like finance games that we're seeing just imploding. And it was one of the curious things that we brought up, like me and you personally on our roundtables. Like, I wonder what these games are going to be like around COVID. And because everybody was just paying for them, right? Money was to be grabbed everywhere. And so far, it's just been so bad. Yeah.
In fairness to all this, right, is like when you go on a crazy spending spree and just like give anybody, I shouldn't even be so critical. Like, I don't know if it's anybody money, but you give out a lot of money to a lot of different things. The way that this model traditionally works is like a very large percentage of those things are always going to end up in failure. It's just this how it works. Is only like the creme de la creme at the top are going to return anything. And so I think like we're seeing the fruits of a lot of those labors coming right now. And so it seems like, oh my God, so many of these games are getting canned or running out of runway, or like a lot of layoffs, a lot of studio closures, right? But I think it's like you have to call like a lot of that was some of the early spending that might have been done without due diligence and like proper vetting of the ideas, or just like, hey, go off and make something cool, right? Without really thinking about what will the landscape look like 3 to 4 years from now, which is also why a lot of people are more focusing on like how to make smaller games in a really small timeline, because then you could react quicker to like what's going on in the market. You wait 3-4 years, like the market will be completely different by that time, right?
Yeah, that's another controversy that they ran into after their game flop. For years they were touting like indie passion projects vibes, right? They were like, hey, we're an indie independent studio. We're basically self-financed. And then shortly after the game stunk, right, it's revealed that Tencent was financing the studio secretly behind the doors the whole time. That it was not at all.
So that's also the whole discussion about that's dumb. Personally, in my opinion, right? And I think it just boils down to a couple of things, right? What does indie even mean anymore? A lot of people are asking this question. I think like a lot of people
it doesn't mean Tencent. That's for sure.
Hold on. Let me get to it.
Yeah.
But there's people that get funded by publishers. Yeah. And they still call themselves indie publishers, right? And it's like what does that really mean? Indie means like at least is supposed to mean like you have no ties to any sort of organization at all, and you pulled up your seat cushions, you found the money in the crevices, and you made this thing on a shoestring budget, 3-4 people, but now we're having like indie studios, 50 people funded by, some publisher, right? And I think like the whole notion of like Tencent secretly, I think that's just dumb, right? Because a lot of times too, when you have a publisher, you cannot publicly state who they are. Yeah. Legally until some point in the future when the game's released, or you want to do a marketing push behind it, and there's some agreed upon time frame what that could be. You could let people know that, right? But it isn't like, so there could be some legal reasons why, right? Is what I'm saying, right? And it's not like some nefarious cabal. He's like, that's how people are making it sound, and it's just so stupid, right? So it's not that. Right.
Right. I mean, it was probably known after Tencent yanked funding with the two, and that's how we know. It's like, and then suddenly they're indie. They were now they're very indie. They're about 20 developers.
I wouldn't even call it indie, but still.
Yeah. Well, more indie than before. Let's just say that. But yeah, this is it was all types of mess, right? So like Apex Legends was famously just dropped out of nowhere and then had like insane success.
Yeah.
So obviously they tried to replicate that with what they were doing with HighGuard to the opposite effect. Because what Apex did was rare as hell. And, you know, the timing of it was in the middle of Battle Royale, and it was basically the third biggest one, right? Behind Fortnite and PUBG. So it's different. In HighGuard, like I can't. It's a first person shooter, basically, right? It's a crowded market, right? And it seems so stupid that they did it the way they did without any like proper testing before. Like, their best stuff was presented at Game Awards, right? That's their best footage. That's their best captures, right? And within an instant, everyone across. Usually when you're doing a trailer, it's your best stuff, right?
You put your best foot forward. You try.
And within a second, unanimously across, everyone's like, "This is shit." Like, how much in a bubble do you have to be within that studio to not see any of that? That's crazy to me. Like, how can you not see that this is? Looks ridiculous, right? Yeah. It's so out of touch.
I don't even know, like, because like that's not the part of it is like when that trailer came out, I didn't even see. I was like off the grid. I didn't even see the trailer at all. So
when it came out,
so I can't even form an opinion on what my reaction would have been upon seeing it, right?
Yeah.
But I also think like hating on something or being like this isn't what it is just from a trailer alone is usually not the right way to judge whether something's good or bad.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if developers have their ways,
but I do say that it's on the developer. Of course, if you're making a trailer, that trailer has to sell your thing, right? Like the trailer has to make people go, "Wow, I want to play that." Right?
Well, every time you share about your game, you're asking them to buy in slowly, right? That's the idea of marketing, right?
Yeah.
And if your first trailer is just turning away people in disgust, right? Maybe that's not the best move.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know if that was the full reaction, right? Like, I just don't know.
I was disgusted, man. From the artistic standpoint, I was looking at it. Like, I'm not complaining about the technical. Obviously, that team is talented, technically, right? But the art direction and the combination of what they put together, it was just so random. It was just... It's the definition of horseshit. That's what I saw. It was just so random. Like, you wouldn't put ponies with knights in sci-fi. Like that's how. Like what I just described to you.
You keep saying ponies, right? But these things are mounts, and they have different types of mounts. And like,
what I saw in the trailer was a pony. It wasn't a full horse, right? The guy's feet was touching the ground while he's riding him.
Nah, it wasn't even it was, what was it? Let me look at this thing, man. I'm gonna look at it now.
I'll play the trailer
because you're going crazy right now. But
it's been months, so people need a refresher. I'll play the trailer.
In the hero art, there's literally like a bear that somebody's riding and stuff. Like, yeah, come on, bro. Let's be reasonable.
Yeah, play this. I'm playing the trailer right now.
I'm seeing, he's on like the main dude is on a horse. It is a horse mount. Which is like
that is a pony, dude.
When you first make it,
like the fact that the trailer starts off with him like jumping off the cliff, was not a good omen.
Oh Lord, yeah, no, it's fine. This is fine. That's a full ass horse, dude. What are you talking about? Anyway, all right. Enough of this. Enough of that. Right. So, but no, yeah, that's a horse he's riding, and there's a bear, and there's like a.
It's dumb, man. And like then finally we get to the design, right? Finally we get to the design part, and it's 3 versus 3 on a huge ass map.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, how do you fail on everything? Who thought that was a good idea?
Like I said, I just think in this day and age, right? You have to come out early with this stuff.
You definitely have to do playtesting.
And I think it's such it's such a thing with AAA games or like super high quality games where it's like, no, like we need to be in our complete secrecy, our complete bubble, and then like planned marketing really like, but if you're going to do a planned marketing release and all that kind of stuff, you could also work in like, okay, when we do the planned marketing, like, hey, let's have a little early version that people could play maybe, right? I think like the way we approach this stuff has to change a bit, just because of what the current landscape is and how crowded it is and how many games are out there. You know what I mean? It's just hard, right? And so like, I just think they were kind of operating under the old school, right? Where it's like, no, we'll come out and wow you with the finished thing and it'll be dope because we think it's dope, right?
Yeah. All that misplaced confidence.
Hubris. Some people call it hubris.
Yeah, I mean, like that's not to say, I know the developers worked really hard on it.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have friends on that team that are not on that team anymore because of it.
Yeah.
This is where LinkedIn gets pretty dishonest. Like as soon as like in the middle of this backlash, right? Everybody's hating on it clearly. And then we have friends on there like, hey, check out our game. We just, released a trailer. And it was like, oh, it looks so great. I'm looking forward to it. It's like, it doesn't look good, dude. I kind of want to burn her account. It's like, why are you lying to them?
No,
tell them to start applying somewhere else. It's bad.
Some people probably meant that, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I think,
that's
like
worse.
me, I'm not like an artist by any stretch. Right. Yeah. And I look at the art and I'm like, this is all very, very plausible art. Now, art direction and like the difference between like styles and all that kind of stuff that's going on in the game, they were trying to merge like two different styles, right? But
it's Frankenstein art design. That's the problem.
It didn't really.
It has no soul. It was soulless. That's the problem.
Yeah, it didn't really mix, right? So, but like but it's like people trying to do something, and I actually. They built something. They try to make something. They try to do it.
Obviously, the core as this game developer, I'm like, kudos. You did something. You dreamt of it, and you shipped it.
Yeah.
All right. It's always going to have my respect. Yeah. It's very hard to do something.
The fact that a game exists at all is always a miracle.
It's amazing, right? Yeah. Not to kind of downplay that at all.
Yeah.
But it's like, God, guys, can you take a second? Just look at your game.
But also think about like the challenges behind like building a team from scratch, and trying to like do something like with some sort of opinion and like team hasn't worked together before. Sure.
There's always a challenge, just the team dynamic of things.
Yeah.
If not, that's probably the biggest challenge aside from the vision of the game, right?
Yeah.
Like a small team can deliver a vision better, but then you multiply that with 80 plus people.
Yeah. And that's why like early looks are important, and I think that's like an example of that going the other way. I don't know if it's on the agenda to talk about, but like Marathon, right? Who knows where it's going to end up? Like, because it's undergoing like active stuff going on right now, like the Steam, the server slam is going on right now, right? Yeah. But like when it first was shown, a lot of stuff happened between when it was first shown and now, right? And now a lot of people are like, oh, it's a lot better than it was, right? And they still have more feedback and they still have more things they would like to see changed, right? But they're like, oh, it's a lot better based upon them actually listening to some of the feedback that we gave early, right?
Yeah.
And that's why that's important, right?
So I'll conclude the HighGuard with this, right? Yeah. Obviously, this is not on any of the developers, right? But collectively, right, you guys failed because there was an echo chamber, right? That wasn't that's the thing that frustrates me. Obviously, there was a bubble in an echo chamber, and they were constantly playtesting this game internally, at least, right? Not publicly, but internally. Mm-hmm. And they kept congratulating each other, saying, this is awesome, this is great. Like, I think it's more rare to have like 80 plus people in a room to agree on something, right? Than to disagree. And I'm just very surprised that 80 plus people, maybe because of political power dynamics, or just because, you know, the CEO, the founder have such a pedigree of a resume that it's hard to kind of question, right? Success.
I would probably add other things. Like I would say, like, it's probably, there might have been a culture of like, not being challenging, right?
Yeah.
It could be a culture of that, could be, right? But the other part of that is also like, if you're playing a game with people, you know, that is a team-based game, and you're all on voice chat, and these people, you know, and you're playing in the office all together, you know them very well, right?
Well, that's what I wonder.
The game is probably a lot more fun, right? In that situation.
Well, what I wonder is this, right? Because, you know, obviously after it kind of flopped, you know, everybody, I think a lot of journalists reached out to developers, like, what happened? And I saw like a one that went viral of the developers, like, people were asking what happened.
Yeah.
You know, we just created we created a game that we were all passionate about. That's what happened. These are the best people. You know, that's not what we're asking. Why?
Yeah.
I guess in the climate where layoffs are happening rampantly, you don't want to burn any bridges.
Yeah, that's
right?
That's how you talk
but
about
like,
things.
Come on, guys. You know, this ain't helping.
You're proud of it. You worked on it. You're proud of it, and you want to be like, yo, we came together. We made a game that we wanted to make. You know,
there is.
And you can't publicly say, "Oh, the game was garbage for this and that." You just can't do that publicly. You can't.
You have to at this point.
You cannot.
I know you can't, and it's more dangerous. And it's probably easier for me to say it because I'm loud. But like, our industry right now has a problem. Clearly, right? That's why there's so many layoffs. There's why in the Western games, there's a problem that hasn't been solved, right? And we don't know when. Everyone's saying 2028 is kind of when we rebound, right? Mm-hmm. So there's clearly a problem where these high profile games that I think, to be fair, players do give it a chance, right? Just hearing from the pedigree of like these studios' background with Respawn and all, I think generally people don't come to the table with hate. They're like kind of open-minded, and then they see something and then they hate, right? I feel like until our Western studios and Western developers can be honest about themselves, right? That we're always going to be falling behind. Dude, I was just playing Resident Evil Requiem. I was like, oh my God.
But here's
it looks so good.
No,
and it plays so good. No, and I'm like, it's like they never missed a beat. Like Japan's games have just constantly progressing.
Okay. So I have very strong opinions about this, actually.
All right.
Very strong. And ever since I've been playing video games, like ever since the beginning of time, PlayStation 2, before that, even Nintendo 64, you know, the NES, Super NES, like, right?
All the systems.
I've always said this: Japanese games got flavor. They got flavor, right? And they know how to make like really fun games, right? And then when we talk about Western developers, right, that uptick, like Western developers, was really like Western developers actually grasped onto the advanced graphics and technological advancements that happened with the consoles, and really took huge advantage of that, right?
Yeah.
And that's the age of Halo, right? I play Halo, right? But I've also played FPS shooters like since the first ones, right?
Yeah.
I thought Halo's trash.
Yeah.
Right. And it's because like Halo did things where FPSs finally became playable on a console.
Yeah.
Right. And that was like a big deal. Right. But I was like, come on now, like, you know, I've been playing FPS. There's way better.
Yeah. I'm for PC.
Halo, right. Yeah. But it started a whole thing. Right. And it started a whole trend. Right. And so this whole notion. Right. But then as that happened, the Eastern developers, Japanese and Chinese developers, didn't really grasp on to the technological advancements. as fast, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, totally.
they still made incredible games that had incredible gameplay, and because they've been doing that ever since, right?
Yeah.
It's not a new thing,
Yeah.
right? They've been doing this for always, right? And then, but then now what we're experiencing is we're starting to get to like kind of a plateau
Yeah.
of like the graphical quality difference between this generation and last generation. That gap is getting smaller and smaller, and we're optimizing for like really, really small gains, right? But there's developers in Japan and China that are like, oh yeah, I actually know the technological advances I need to make too. And then you mix that with the fact that they're really good at making games, period. And then you get Wukong and like some of these things that we're like lauding as like it's the end of the Western developer, right? but it's just like, no, these dudes have been dope always, right? But now the game is also looks really good, right? Like, and I think like, you know, Dragons, what was it? Dark Souls, like the original Dark Souls is an ugly game, right? But it has a huge following because of its gameplay, right? And the last version, Elden Ring, looks way better. Still not like top, but it looks way better. And but that gameplay is still there that like everybody loves, right? And so sometimes like the graphics doesn't even really matter. It's really what gameplay are you offering to people, right? And I always felt the Japanese and the Chinese always knew how to, like, they have flavor when they do stuff, right? And they know how to just do crazy stuff that people enjoy playing.
To kind of ride off of that. No, I agree. Like I've been voicing this concern for like the past year or two about there's this weird de-emphasis on design. And when I say Western, I'm not even saying European, because European and Asia are kind of on the uptick. They've been doing well overall in their market. They're not having the downturn that we're having here in North America. So when I say Western, it's mostly North America studios. And like the North American teams, for whatever reason, are delisting and getting rid of a lot of old school designers, right? I've been noticing on LinkedIn more. I know a lot of my friends are having a hard time getting back into the studio, which is very odd because the design department have always been small to begin with, right? There's only a handful of them in each studio. And then the handful of them that are looking are having trouble finding jobs. It's like, all right, where the fuck is all the designers then that they're hiring? And then now we're seeing some of the results of that, right? And I know, like you said before, North American teams have always been the bleeding edge of graphics, right? In terms of art direction, I've been proudly saying that the art direction have never missed, right? It's all, if a game doesn't do well, it's usually because something's wrong with the design, like the gameplay is no good, right? That's been a thing. But then I see something like HighGuard. All right, we'll move on to Marathon right now, right? These games that where the creative art direction, creative decisions are so bad, where I was like, what is going on with our artists who are making these calls, right? And it's not even technical. Like, technically, well, now I gotta say technically too, because HighGuard runs like shit, right? What I'm seeing, like, the optimization problems with it. A lot of people are like having these 5090 cards and having problems running it on their PC. And the way that it looks too, right? It's not like bleeding edge, right? It looks kind of stylized, which is meant to like be optimal. But for whatever reason, it went with that style, and it's still heavy on a 3 versus 3 map. It's like, what is going on? Where our artists are fucking that up too. So like, I kind of have, like, as an investor, right? I understand, because that's the talks now, and with investor land is like, why should we pay for more in North America developers, because North Americans do cost more, right? When I can get something less and get better bang for the buck, ROI, with Eastern developers or European developer, right? Without the with more humility, without the cockiness, right? And like the Wildlight thing, I'm curious too, and I hope that some journalists eventually we'll break through that wall of like, oh, the game's fun, of these developers. Like, we made a game together. It's like, all right, come on. We really do need to know what happened here, because I think that data is good for the rest of us, right? So we don't create, like, how as as an industry in North America are we going to get better if we can't be honest about our failures, right?
Yeah, but I don't think it's like a mystery. You know what I mean? Like,
I need us to say it. It's like one of those like addiction problems that you have where I do have it. You have to say it and acknowledge that, it sucks, and it sucked for these reasons. All right, I'll get, all right. I'm not living in the Twilight Zone where like I'm the only one that's seeing this suck.
I would say this: if that game existed before any other, like, of the current team-based,
I don't even think so.
Team-based games, right? You wouldn't be as critical. Right?
Maybe not as critical, right? Because they tried. Right?
Like, it would be different, right? Like, it would be like, so that's why it's always like, maybe it's just too late. For the time, maybe they tried,
but that argument is just as bad because, like, hey, you guys, different, right? Your team had all this time, all these games to look at, and this is what you came up with. It's like that side of. So, like, the Wildlight, the number one question I have, if that team ever gets to be honest, was it the remote thing that they weren't sitting next to each other in playtesting, that they weren't able to kind of nitpick and kind of point these obvious things to everyone else? Was it because they were living separately and not in the office all the time that no one caught this? Because there are subtle things that you miss when you're playtesting, where it's like, oh, why'd you make that face? It's like, this pony kind of sucks.
I would not blame this on remote. Like, that's just looking for a scapegoat, when like I said, I just think going quiet with a game like this, a game that should be really driven by what the community wants, and you just don't show it to them. Right. And just suspect, like, here, take this. And maybe their plan was to be like, here, take this. And then, okay, now we'll listen to your feedback. Because they did also make a lot of changes while the game was active. Like, it's still going on. But like, while there's way more players, they added 5-player, 5v5, right? And all, like, they were making adjustments. Yeah, they were making adjustments as people were playing it. So maybe that was their plan all along. But maybe it also should have been a little bit front loaded,
It should have went to alpha testing. It should have been a year ago, at least, when they started to kind of accept people and listen to the community. And then also the whole like not running well thing too is like these days, I don't know the exact makeup of the team or whatever, but these days a lot of teams don't want to have optimize.
No, they don't want to have graphics or engine experts, right? They get an engine off the shelf. And they're like, this engine should be able to answer the call of what we want to do. And sometimes you just need to get in there, and really. Let me ask you on that. There has been like this theme. I don't know what their testing plan was around performance. Like, I have no idea. Right. But like,
let me ask you this. So like the popular thing that developers are always saying is like Unreal games don't run well. Right. Is it really because there's just no graphics engineer on these teams anymore, or what are you saying exactly? What's the common theme?
I think some teams are not spending enough time, especially on PC. They're not spending enough time testing it on different configurations and understanding like how they need to scale it and what settings they need to turn off. I think a lot of the advertising around Unreal, some people just take at face value without like actually. What work do we need to put in, to optimize it and make sure that it's running well for our experience, right? What is the testing plan? Like, how many different machines do you run this on? It's hard to hire graphics experts and engine experts right now because they all work at Epic or they all work at Unity, right? So it's like even hard. It's hard to find the right talent even. And if you do, especially like in this whole realm of like, we need to make sure our game budget is manageable. They're not cheap, right? So it's like, I think it's a combination of like a lot of different things, right? That makes it not necessarily work out, right? And some people just want to blame the engine, or but it's all about like the craft and experience you put into it. That's the engine's not going to make your game look great, and it's not going to make your game look bad. It's the effort that you put into it, right? That really makes it shine, right? And some engines make that easier to do than others, sure, right? But it's really about like the expertise that you apply, right?
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Pretty sure HighGuard won't be around in another 6 months. I'm surprised they're keeping. I guess the most curious thing about that team is like, all right, they're sub 20 developers now. I wonder what that looks like the next 6 months. Like, what exactly are they planning to do? Just to kind of service the rest of the game, or are they really kind of cooking something else?
New prototype. That would be the smart thing to do. I don't know what they're doing, but the smart thing to do would be like a new prototype with a small game.
Just with the whatever is left over from HighGuard.
Yeah, what can you salvage, make it to something else, right? And there's like there's one example of this that everybody keeps forgetting. There's this little small game called Fortnite.
Yeah.
That didn't do well when it first came out.
Yeah.
Right. And then they made some changes, and look at Fortnite today, right? Like it's like a huge thing, right? So like, anything's possible, really.
Yeah, but Fortnite had PUBG.
Well,
they literally just copied it.
They copied an idea, yes, but it started out as something else, right? Like something entirely, right? And then they
entirely different,
added a different mix to it, right? And I actually like that game. I like the original Fortnite game.
Yeah, it was different. It's all more crafting.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Wildlight, just wait for another game and copy it. Hopefully another good game will come out in the next 2 months.
I think in these days it's a lot harder just to wholesale copy something. But.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like games just get no respect in terms of copying. So, all right, let's talk about Marathon. So Marathon is Bungie's game, right? It just came out in terms of testing. It did pretty well. Yeah, I think it was at peak 140 day one, and then it dipped as low as 63, which is pretty good. And they're continuously getting feedback. And from you played it, and what I've heard is like people just want more polish, but overall they're enjoying it. Right. Obviously, everyone's comparing to Arc Raiders, which is the game and is not as good. Right. Which is what people are saying. But I want to know your thoughts, after playtesting.
Yeah, I mean, these games are not my type of game. So I'll just preface it with that. Like I died and all my shit was gone, and I was like, "Oh, that sucks! Like this is not for me at all, right?" Because then I would be very paranoid of who I teamed up with if that was the case, right? I wouldn't team up with random people, right? I think that's maybe some people like doing that, but I wouldn't do it. I would have to be friends of mine if I'm gonna lose all my stuff. But anyway, so there's that part. But in terms of like the gunplay, how it felt, all that stuff felt like really good. Like there's some issues with like the UI and stuff, and like the UI is not very readable and just confusing, and I couldn't really distinguish human players from NPC players, right? I played very briefly. Like I played like one match, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I see what this is." But like I guess I wouldn't, and I would say from the earlier looks of it, like the graphics, everything looked like way better. The environment looked better. There was like more detail, right? I really like that style of like bright colors against like more muted things,
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting style that they're trying to go for, this whole like cyber neon cyber type of thing, kind of like Mirror's Edge,
Yeah.
So overall, like that was my thought. Like now, whether it is the the extraction shooter to be the one that everybody plays, like I have no idea, because I haven't even played Arc Raiders. I haven't even installed.
Arc Raiders is dope, dude.
I mean, Arc Raiders. Every time I see a video of it, I'm like, this game looks beautiful. Like,
very nice.
Yeah, right. But I like when I see, oh, I got to be a Twitch gamer and be shooting FPS and all that. Like, I ain't got time for all that. So, but I really should check it out. But
yeah, I'll comment on Arc Raiders real quick. Arc Raiders is, first of all, the aesthetic of Arc Raiders is what a first person shooter fan would normally go for, right? Yeah. It's just the look that most shooters fans like, right? Yeah. And like you said, the environment, it's so epic, right? Basically, you as a player is 10% of the screen and the rest is the environment. And that contrast just makes it feel so epic every time. And it really does feel like you're camping with your friends when you're walking through it. And like, because of the environment, is so distinctive, right? Every environment that they introduce, it feels fun to kind of walk through and discover things, right? Mm-hmm. So just mentioning that and then talking about Marathon, I get what Marathon is doing. Obviously, it's going for like a more clean Mirror's Edge, not as detailed as Ghost in the Shell, right? I mean, they committed to it. I felt like when they first showed the trailer, like I was complaining about how they didn't seem so committed. If you're going to go for it, go for it. So I definitely do see that they went for it. They added more geometry. It's not so flat, right? Yeah. The color, there's a little texture to it. It's not, it's just simple colors, right? So they did take in the feedback and put some art in it, basically, right? But like the same reason that I like Arc Raiders, where I feel like it appeals to gamers, I find it going to be hard for Marathon, right? To do the same. Like this kind of art style would be good for something like a side scroller or those type of games, you know what I mean? Where it's not like, I'm saying it because like to me, it's more, if you're going to go for something like that, it doesn't, naturally blend with the shooter, right? Which is more.
I'll just say this, right? Like all the criticism that has been like so far that has been mentioned or talked about with respect to Marathon, I have not heard much of any of it be about what it looks like.
Right.
There's all sorts of other criticism, right? So like that for me is like, I think it's, do something different, man. I'm not trying to see like just do something different. It's cool if it's consistent and coherent. Like just do that, right? And it fits with the theme, right? And so just go all in on it, right? I think that's fine. But it's like all the other stuff, like the gameplay stuff that the more expert people that are experienced in this area are saying, that will really make or break it, right? And is it good enough to get enough players to come over and play it, right? Yeah. And I think just in general, like that whole type of game, extraction shooter thing is like, it's not a mass appeal type of game.
Yeah.
So like you have to get those groups of people that play those type of games away from the games that they're already playing.
Yeah. It's the same group. There's a lot of games. It's not just games. It's like, Netflix and stuff that is kind of pulling you in all different directions. It's so hard to compete for people's time nowadays.
You say Netflix, right? But there's a report that came out that like that's listed what the things are, and it's the number one, the things that have been growing more rapidly. No. Oh, there's been some of that, yeah. But the things that have been growing more rapidly for like the demographic that we're talking about is gambling.
Yeah.
Prediction markets have been like blowing up, right? Yeah. Which is just like, you can call them prediction markets for whatever legal reason you want, but it's gambling, right?
Yeah.
And then OnlyFans had a huge year. So
that's our group,
right?
Those are our guys.
Yeah. So like that, it's just the general attention, right? Like, why would I play a game when I'm not hitting my parlay, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of there's definitely a crisis on our hands.
It's a legit crisis. If those are the things that are increasing like crazy, gambling, Kalshi, Polymarket, and OnlyFans, like
just all the vices.
There's a problem, right? That needs to be sorted out. Yeah.
Yeah, I do see that. Having a high school kid, they talk about these prediction markets. Like, what are you guys doing gambling all the time? It's crazy. I mean, is this like Vegas' answer? Because drinking and gambling in Vegas have gone down, like they're disappearing. And then suddenly these prediction markets, I wonder if they just transferred their focus.
I think part of the problem, part of Vegas's demise is that gambling is becoming more ubiquitous and legal, way more convenient means. So I don't need to go to Vegas to gamble.
Right. But it's Vegas, man.
Yeah, Vegas is cool. But
yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, people listening maybe not be too obvious, but I'm always hoping games succeed more than fail, right? Like it does us no good if all the games that are coming out of North America are failing subsequently after each other. And so a marathon, I think they're adjusting as good as they can with kind of like, I felt like the reception was kind of similar. It wasn't great. But then, after a year they delayed and added changes, and they have to have somewhat of a hit, right? I mean, this is their game basically after Destiny, and it's been like 5 + 8 years, right? 8 years since they've released anything. Not counting the DLCs, expansions, or whatever. So they definitely need this to work. Yeah. I don't think it's going to go, I don't think it's going to be mass appeal, right? Like you said, extraction shooters are not mass appeal games even to begin with. But if you're competing against Arc Raiders, right? The decision, and we talked about all these other markets, like OnlyFans and Poly markets and stuff, but we're just talking about games. It's like, all right, I got some time to sit down. We're going to play Arc Raiders or play a marathon.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, people are still going to pick Arc Raiders, right?
Yeah.
And if they can survive on that lower percentage, then maybe this is fine for what it is.
I'm also just bothered by the general decision to just not make a marathon remake.
Yeah.
For the old heads first.
Remake, yeah.
Yeah, just remake like the original, or like a sequel to the original, like in kind of the same style as the original game. And then, like you hype up the IP, bring it back, everybody's super happy. And then you like, okay, here's like a multiplayer version of it too. Yeah, I just don't know. Yeah, I don't know why it's like so different from like the OG game, You
think they played the OG game?
But that's this old man. That's this old man yelling at Cloud thing. Yeah.
But do you think the creative team actually played the old game to draw inspiration, or did they just put it in and then just?
No, I think they might have. Yeah, I would hope so. Like at least for like in terms of like the theme and the setting, right? But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it should have done more to tie it into the old one. I think they figured like not a lot of people play the original where they didn't even do that, but
no, but I think that's the thing. It's like such an old IP, and I think like you're going off the strength of that IP to try to sell this, right? Because it's you're using that IP to sell this game. It might be better to try to like recreate that feeling of the original game first, to solidify that in people's minds. A new version of this world. Build more fans, right? Because that's the other thing. It's like yeah, it's a game that we're going to hype to you and advertise to you and everything like that, right? But like the IP doesn't really mean anything to gamers today.
To anyone, yeah. Right? That's why I'm kind of. They should have just done the Destiny 3. Like I don't understand. So they needed to hit. They needed to prove themselves. They went in and out of this controversy with Sony kind of slowly taking over as a studio, right?
There's a reason why Bungie left Microsoft.
Yeah. But like,
that's all I will say to why not make Destiny 3. There's a reason why they left Microsoft. They don't just want to rehash the same thing over and over again. They want to do different things, obviously, right?
Should have done Destiny.
like creators want to do different things. Like, oh, that's a big surprise, you know.
I don't know, man. If you're gonna do a shooter, do the shooter, right? That everyone's asking for. Like,
everybody asking for Destiny 3, really? People out here asking
more than Marathon.
Well, sure, but like, are they? You know, like sometimes you have to do something different, you know, because you want to like explore different ideas. You know,
I don't know. I feel like sometimes,
and Bungie also has like an incubation team where they think of like new ideas, right? Because they want to be creative. It's a creative studio, you know.
I don't know. I like, this is where I feel like we're so segmented as a industry in North America. Like, I feel like we have all these conferences, like GDC's coming up, which they rebranded, and I feel like the studio heads need to get together and recognize there's a crisis right now, and kind of get our shit together. Yeah. Otherwise, it's collapsing. Like,
I don't think the answer to the crisis is more sequels.
No, but we need hits.
Yeah, but I also don't think new sequels equals hits either, right? Like, that's part of our problem.
I'm just playing Resident Evil 9, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, this is the greatest game ever.
Yeah. I would say when Resident Evil games make sequels, they reimagine the gameplay like a lot.
Yes, of course.
And so,
and that's the thing. Like, people have like this bad idea of what sequels are.
Yeah.
And they can be, you know,
I guess that's
as well done as that.
That's the argument for why reimagine Marathon as a extraction shooter. But I would say Marathon's such an old IP that doing the remake first makes sense. But yeah.
I'm just worried, man. Like, we're like, I've said this a lot. I'm still seeing it. Right, this divestment of young developers, right? Like that group is gone. No one's hiring young developers anymore. And then the old designers are also gone. Like, I feel like if no one's talking about it, we should start talking about it, how we're kind of cutting off the breathing supply of the industry right now, right? If you're not investing in young developers, they're never, you know, there's no one to hand the keys over, right? When we're gone. And then if you're getting rid of the old guys, right, then these games going to suck in Exhibit A, HighGuard, right? And like, I feel like, well, I mean, what games are you looking forward to this year? Let's just start with that.
Crimson Desert. All
right. Eastern game. Is that an Eastern game? Right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. That game looks nuts, right?
The game looks awesome. Even I was like, excited about it. And then what else?
What else is on the horizon this year?
What games are coming out this year?
I can't even think about. GTA.
Yeah.
Me and everybody else in the world, basically.
And that's not even North America. That's in freaking.
I mean, it's mixed. It's
like they have studios in.
Some of it is made in Canada, for crying out loud, right? And that's how I checked. As much as a lot of people don't know, a lot of Americans don't know, but Canada is part of North America. So.
Yeah, it counts. But their main studios in where is it? In Europe, but I forget where. Dublin, right? Which is crazy. Yeah.
Games this there's Marathon, right? And Marathon's coming up full release too soon.
Yeah. They have to, man. Running out budget.
Yeah, Timberborn comes out this week. Try to see if what is something that is like on the horizon that I'm like really excited for.
I think that's it. It's the GTA 6, Crimson Desert,
Horizon, Forza Horizon. Yeah, there's something I'm missing.
Diablo 4 expansion.
Apparently, this is just me being a nerd, but Dead or Alive 6 is coming out this year.
Well, Wolverine's coming out in September.
Yeah. Marvel's Wolverine.
That's it. Yeah. Well, I mean, thank God.
Honestly,
Insomniac is coming out with something.
No, honestly, in the year of GTA 6, I would just avoid making a video game, quite frankly, right? But yeah, there's a lot of things that are like to be determined or whatever. But yeah. Yep.
GTA 6, November at least. So if you have games coming out, release it now.
Well, basically, and March seems like it's kind of packed with like a lot of games, probably for that reason. Get it out early. Also, Q1. March is like the end of Q1 for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I mean, I think we talked about everything that we wanted to talk about. There's a lot of catching up to do. This game. I'm looking at this list of games coming out, and I'm not very enthusiastic about it. I see Crimson Desert, GTA 6, Wolverine. That's it. I see a lot of remakes.
That's like AAA, right? But I think there would be a lot of indie games. I play a lot of strategy games. There's a lot of strategy games that are out now or coming or in early access. There's so many games that get released every day now. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So there's always something that I'll find to play, but yeah, I think those are the big ones. Crimson Desert, GTA 6, Marathon.
Yeah. Right. No one's Marathon. I hope it did you well. I mean, I don't want Bungie to be whatever, but Sony haven't, ironically enough, even with Bungie, I haven't been doing well with multiplayer games. So
yeah,
it's such a weird problem to have. I do want to end with this. I can't believe we just almost skipped this, the whole Xbox thing, right? So I've been saying it for years. I think they finally realized it, right? Phil Spencer's retiring, quote unquote. And then who was the lady again? The vice president. Zarapon is stepping away. Yeah. And then some other lady. So the controversy. Well, I don't even think it's controversy. The talks is like the new person that's stepping in doesn't even come from the industry. She works from Instacart or something like that, right? From the tech industry or something.
Well, she also did AI at Microsoft. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So the argument's like, well, is it wise to have someone outside the industry to come in and try to fix a brand like Xbox that's very gamer focused? Mm. And the other side of it, it's like, well, maybe that's what we need, because we did have someone hardcore for 10 years and he just slowly killed it to death for 10 years.
Yeah. I would say, I don't, yeah, I'm so torn because I do think the direction that Microsoft is trying to go is probably what is going to end up happening eventually with consoles. Yeah. Like I've been saying for a while, I don't think we're gonna have another generation really of consoles. Or I always say, like, I think this generation of consoles about to come out is the last one, because it's increasingly not making any sense in terms of like what made you buy a console before? Like when you got your PlayStation 2 or whatever, right? What made you say you wanted your PlayStation 2? What were the reasons behind that?
Exclusives.
See how quickly you answered, right? And then in this appetite of this world, right? Like Sony has like some of the best exclusives out there, but even that they are like, yo, we need to put these on PC too.
They are stepping back. I've been reading that they're pulling back from their PC ports for that very reason. Yeah,
but money still needs to be made, right? And they are also like what they do with they give their exclusives like a year of exclusivity, and then like after a year, then it's on PC now. They acquired a whole company that are experts at doing PC ports. to do the PC ports, right? So like it's a whole thing that they know
but even then they
so much more money from that, right?
Yeah, I'm wondering what Sony's doing. I have been reading that they're pulling back from that. It's the reason why I skipped the PS5. I've always bought every PlayStation's because of the
and PS5. And PS5 is like very impressive. There's some like good exclusive in there. I think Astrobot's still like an incredible game, right? But I think over time, like they need to continue growing, right? And so they need the games need to be more in more places, right? I think that's just like an economics thing, straight up.
Right? I get it, but I think the problem. I'm not so much arguing against Xbox's strategy. Xbox everywhere. This is an Xbox, right? Yeah. Funny enough, like that kind of backfired. It's like this is not.
I think all of those things. That's the things. Like I think whenever Microsoft does something.
Yeah,
they always do it early.
Yeah, they rushed it,
and then they always mess up the marketing, right?
Yeah.
And so like TV, right? Like that was a big mess up, right?
Yeah.
Where do you watch? For a lot of people, where do you watch your Netflix now today? Where do you watch your Hulu and your Disney Plus? And a lot of people, the only device they have to do that on is their console. Right.
Yeah.
And that's available on every console.
Yeah.
Right. So TV. Oh, guess what we're doing? We're watching TV on our console like a lot. Right. So like you guys are tripping, right? Like that whole thing was just early. Right. But it was obviously the way the industry was going. Right. And then like now, the consoles are just glorified PCs these days. They're just like PCs with different specs. And just more and more people want to play their game on their Steam Deck. People want to play a game when they're on a bus. They want to move around with it. They want to play it on different platforms. They want to buy it once and then play it everywhere, right? Like people want that. You know what I mean? Like that's what the thing with Sony right now. If you buy their exclusive again on PC, you're buying it again, right? But eventually, like I don't know how much longer that's going to last. In the context of Sony, right? Yeah,
I mean that's why I find it funny that I think Steam is slowly just going to take over all the market. I mean, they came out with a very convincing lineup of devices that does exactly what Xbox have been trying to do, right? Yeah. This is a Steam.
Yeah, I don't know if the Steam Box Part 2 will be successful. I have no idea. And
I'm getting a box. Oh, dude. To have one in your living room that plays all the games on your library.
You don't even know how much that thing costs. You can just get a mini PC. You can get a mini PC right now and play games in your library for $500.
Okay, I get it, but
you could get
not a Steam box.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But you could get a mini PC right now, play in your living room for $500.
Yeah, well, most people won't do that, and they'll buy the Steam verified device.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And then they'll charge a premium because it's a Steam verified device. And also like right now, the hardware, the memory costs and all that kind of stuff is bananas. Right. Yeah. And so
consoles are definitely delayed.
Yeah. And so when will we see these things? Right. It's very interesting.
Well, let's talk about Xbox real quick, right? Just like where do you stand like having an outsider kind of fix this? Whatever they're trying to fix with Xbox, or do you think it is weird that someone who's learning about games, because she got in trouble recently too. People were seeing that her gamer tag was being used by multiple accounts that she wasn't playing.
Well, I also think that's silly too, right? Like I think trying to prove to people that no, I am a gamer, I am trying to learn, right? It's like you're just playing into the foolishness, right?
Yeah.
Where you could just be like, look, I don't know nothing about this, but what I do know is business. Yeah. Right. And I know how to trust my people, right? And then putting like I think the fact that what's the guy's name? Matt Booty is still there in charge of content, right? Mm-hmm. Like he's the gamer guy and he's in charge of content, right? And so like he can try to make sure that things are still very much gamer focused, right? You have your marketing people and all that kind of stuff, right? So like trust your people and run the business, right? And if running the business means a return to a more gamer focused message, if that's where the data shows, then a business person would make that right decision, right? And then the gamers get what they want, right? But to assume that the person needs to be like some sweaty gamer that plays Arc Raiders like every day or something like that, right?
Yeah.
No, they got to be in meetings and they got a job, right? Like, you know what I mean? And so like I don't know if that's an actual. It would be nice to have, of course, right? But I don't think it's an actual like requirement. They just have to be able to make the right decisions.
Yeah, I mean, I think having a fresh perspective in the game business is kind of needed right now. Like, we kind of ran into a similar issue before. Like, I keep mentioning it, and I don't think it's emphasized enough as lessons learned when during the PlayStation 2 to 3 era, when people mention about that. Those times was like the best games coming out, right? But there was a lot of studio closures, more, not as much as now, but it was a crisis in the game industry. Like, what's going on? Every studio's closing down, and it was because of an outsider industry, the mobile industry, the Apple, phone. Mm-hmm. Reinvigorated and I say resuscitated the game industry in a big way and completely like made it a success again. And now we're seeing that kind of fizzing out.
It introduced the concept that everybody hates, but
yeah, of course. But like we were at a downfall, then. And
I would say downfall, but I think the
it was really bad.
The middle was being hollowed out, right? And it was just the AAA was left.
Yeah.
And then mobile rose as like the casual, right?
And then the indie crowd, and then you got the Steam green light or whatever.
Yeah.
It really reinvigorated that model. So I see a similar thing happening with Xbox, where I am in favor of her coming in from the outside and looking at the business as a business, right? Unfiltered and seeing what works and what doesn't work. I do think they need to go back to exclusive. This Xbox, everything. I get what you're saying too. Like, they're just too early on things.
Exclusives are dead. Like there's no.
They have to go back to exclusives, man.
There's no way to make money. Doing exclusives. It's just not possible.
Well, that's why it's shit what Sony's doing.
You spend like a damn near $1 billion on a game. You're going to sell it on one place? Are you crazy? Yeah. No, can't do it.
Well, that's why I'm interested in seeing what Sony does, because they are pulling back from their PC ports. They want to emphasize their console as being their ecosystem to control their IPs.
Sure.
And I mean, in their own way, they've done this as Xbox everywhere. They don't tout it as much, but they have their online version of their libraries. In my opinion, a stronger library. I have both for a little while, and I do prefer the games on PlayStation more than the Xbox. Just the Game Pass stuff.
I'm just gonna be real. Like, we did it to ourselves, though, right? Like, budgets ballooned, right? And like literally a AAA game budget could approach $1 billion, man.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Like, it's a lot of money, right? And you just cannot recoup that.
It's not sustainable.
Sitting in one place, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I want to see what happens then, because I think everybody wants Xbox to be a major pillar, remain a major pillar. I mean, it's talking about North America game. It's the only North America console, right? Well, brand that's big.
Yeah, who cares? I don't know if that matters that much, right? But that was a big thing. Yeah, it was like, oh yeah, we finally got our own console, right? But
I think we just need to be competitive again.
I just put it like this: Microsoft is a software company.
Yeah,
they've always. And whether their software is any good or not, that's a totally another debate. But they're a software company. They're not really a hardware company, and they've shown some improvement in their hardware capabilities, right? But there's a reason why people like Sony more. A lot of cases, there's a reason why Nintendo is just killing everybody. Like these dudes know how to make hardware. you know.
What's this? How do you feel about this rumor that they're basically this move of them changing guard is kind of like their way of sunsetting Xbox?
I think it's Xbox's last chance.
Yeah,
it's like hey, we need to turn this around, or it's done, right?
Yeah, because a few years ago, they there was a mandate of making 30%.
Yeah,
RUI, right?
Which
they never hit.
Which is crazy. Yeah.
Which they never hit.
Yeah.
And it was like a mandate. And, Microsoft as a whole is so much more than Xbox. I don't think Xbox have ever really made any impact in terms of the Microsoft business.
But in this day and age, you can't have divisions that are loss leaders anymore. They want everything. They need growth and profit everywhere.
Right.
So it's just kind of on its.
Can't have a write off anymore.
It's on its last legs right now. Yeah.
So what do you see a scenario where they're just selling off all their first party studios, or
they are a software company, man?
So they're just going to
if they make games that can make
they'll be
money.
Fine.
Yeah, that can make money. They don't need to sell hardware. They really don't. And that's kind of what the whole plan is. And some people are like, oh, but this is going to lose its identity and all this kind of stuff, right? I hear it, but like it just doesn't make money. It just doesn't make money. Yeah.
It's been lost.
And could they have done a better job of Xbox is the hardware platform, and had more games for it ready, and have a better plan, and have more exclusives and all of that. Yes, but at the same time, games also became like way more expensive to make, way longer to take, right? And hiring talent is super hard, and like the whole thing just became really hard, and that's why they bought Activision. It's kind of like a band-aid to that problem, just get a whole bunch of IP and content as quickly as possible. But it's still, these things it's hard to move a big AAA production that fast, right? Yeah.
So with the new Xbox boss saying that they want to reemphasize the brand and talk about what, I swear she wrote something about exclusives, right? I mean, what was she saying? Let me look that up again.
No, she just said the brand. I don't think she really. I think people might have read that into it, but I think it was more like the brand Xbox as a brand will be like
revisited,
bring it back. I don't think that's like let's double down on Xbox Series X. Like I just don't know. I just don't see it.
Yeah, so it's just so
we'll see it.
The next 5 years, it's just so uncertain on all fronts, not just games. Like what's going on? I'm gonna have robots taking over jobs, or is Xbox gonna be around? So many things are changing where it's like it's hard to kind of plan it. Yep. But I wanted to kind of mention that because that was big news. I hope Xbox survives, but I don't know. Like if there's less and less people buying, honestly, I think it's going to be up to the smaller teams, the indie crowds, to kind of come up with new ideas. If they're out of the game, that means a major publisher not shopping around. That doesn't help, right? It only hurts the business. So I think whatever Xbox is planning to do, hopefully they just invested back into game developers, right?
Yeah, like I think just you just got to make good games with the Xbox branding on it, and games that people want to play, and bring back that community and the togetherness that was there back in the day. Like Xbox 360 I played a lot of Dead or Alive on. That's why I'm looking forward to Dead or Alive 6. I play a lot of Dead or Alive on 360, like a lot. Right. And so like that whole.
Well, I mean, she's saying return to hardware. I don't think they're ditching hardware, man.
Sure.
That's what she's saying.
Sure. That's cool. That's a cool story. It's a cool story, bro. Cool story.
Yeah. I hope All I care about is I hope Xbox doesn't buy Steam. That's all I care about. That keeps popping up every year or two, and it scares the shit out of me.
Do they even have enough money to buy? Like, I don't, like, what's the price? What's the price? What would it take?
Billions and billions of dollars.
That's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, I have no. I mean, they spent $70 billion on Activision.
Yeah.
They have money.
What's funny is I'm old enough to remember when Steam was hated on.
Yeah, it was really hated on.
That's crazy. When you think about that, it's crazy
how they turned it around.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, let's see how it goes. It's just like I know a lot of people that listen to the Roundtable News think we're just hating on the industry all the time. But it's like, hey, dude, if there's things to celebrate, I was celebrating. Right? It's not my fault.
There's plenty of things. There's plenty of things to celebrate, bro. Like, we make games. There's more games than ever coming out, which is like, because if you see it's a good or a bad thing, whatever. But it's more people are able to get their vision and their ideas out, and get people to play their games that probably wouldn't have seen it otherwise.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the fact that any game exists is a miracle, as we all know.
It's great.
Right. But there's a whole lot of, like hate out there. But like at the end of the day, it's like, let's just celebrate games coming out and then reward the ones that we like.
Yeah.
And then don't buy the ones you don't like,
right.
You just like that.
And you can call yourself indie, even though you're backed by Tencent, the biggest conglomerate ever. What is that about? I do hope that someone gets through to that team and like, what happened? It'll probably be a few months from now, when the studio's down. Do you think the studio's going to close, or do you think they have a few years left?
I think like the scale down has given them some sort of runway. So there is like probably a ticking clock. Yeah. Right. And which is why I say probably thinking of new ideas. Right. So we'll see.
Team's gone, dude.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, team. Yeah, I mean, if you had 80 people and that was the best idea, what is 20 people going to do, to be honest? All right. Well, thanks, guys. That's our Roundtable News episode. I'll see you guys next time. Hit us up. Let us know what your thoughts are. Latest.
Peace.